I wanted to share with you this article that I found. It's from the Dutch Cycling Embassy, and the title of the article is Fietsberaad, and I'm sure I said that completely wrong, I apologize. International goes into Dutch Cycling Embassy. The article is dated 2011, and it's written by Hans, I know I'm going to slaughter your last name, Borknick, I think is how you pronounce that, maybe. Again, I apologize. I've not studied the language. Um, he said this, and this really opened my eyes to cycling advocacy. And he says, the way the Dutch bicycle ambassadors have worked for Fietsberaad International has really attributed to the cycle zest that is going on in the world, not as preachers who knew everything better, but with an open mind to the problems in the rest of the world unknown to us Dutchmen. Um, so in the article he's talking about how much fun it is to ride a bike and just how truly great it is as a sustainable mode of transportation and levels the playing field for all income, all levels of income. So, I mean, if you don't have to spend if you don't have to go into debt $20,000 to have a vehicle to get to work, you're just financially better off. He goes on to talk about things, and he says, he numbers out some important things. The top one is stop helmet promotion, and this is very important. Um, uh, Two, cycle planning is an essential part of urban planning, and three, sacrifice car lanes for bike lanes. It's a win, no lose deal. Um, Aim at separate bicycle paths, and I agree with that. There's no such thing as free parking, just as there's no such thing as a free lunch, and that's the five main points, and all of that is very, very true. But I want to go back to the what he says about coming in with an open mind to the problems in the rest of the world unknown to Dutchmen. And that is where I think a lot of bicycle advocates uh, completely miss the mark. Is they go forward thinking they have the answer, and they just need to feed you the solution, and you'll eventually accept it, and everything will be great. And that's not how it works. I read this book called Positive Deviance, and in it, it talks about how working from the bottom up is a much more viable solution. Get rid of the hierarchy of politicians and all of the red tape that we have to cross to get any initiatives or anything changed. So what I'm looking at is I'm looking at getting together some people who are interested in brainstorming ideas to put together a cycling advocacy group that looks at the area. They immerse themselves in the area, they get a complete feel for it, and then they talk to the locals, they ask them questions, and they let the people decide for themselves what would be the best solution. Too much, bike lanes, especially these really narrow, awful bike lanes, are being pushed, and we're told that it's gonna, better our community. Spend this money on this narrow little lane, and you're gonna have all these cyclists just flood into it. They're just the floodgates are being held back by the lack of bicycle lanes, and I can tell you from my own personal experience that is not true. If you are going to ride a bike, if you are passionate about riding a bike, you're going to find a way to do it. For me, it wasn't about I had this love for cycling, and I just wanted to experience the love of cycling on this very busy arterial road. No, it wasn't. It wasn't that at all. I had a very, as a single mom, I had a very tough choice to make. I couldn't drive my car anymore, and so I had to choose the bicycle. And it's a good thing that it took hold before I started getting the tickets, because had I started getting ticketed right away, that would have killed it for me. I would have absolutely have found another way. I would have either quit my job, or I don't know what I would have done, but there would have been another solution. For me, I found the bicycle, and it was great. And what is what is absolutely painful is the number of people who have been so very unkind to me. If I had known that any of this was going to happen, I would I would I wouldn't have done it. But I made it. I made it anyways. And in spite of the cycling advocates, I still love riding the bicycle. And it shouldn't have to be that way. It shouldn't have to be in spite of. So that's what I absolutely, it just really caught my attention when I read that article, and I thought this is what cycling advocacy needs to be about. It needs to be about not being arrogant and thinking you know the right answer for other people. It's about finding out what other people need to do, and stop promoting fear. You're just working against yourselves when you promote fear. So, anyways, thank you. Bye.